Well, we may have a few guests, so I'm going to act as if we have a few guests. I know that we're going to have some people join. Hello and welcome to Tech Talk. And my name's Chris Troy. I'm the founder of Code for Life. Code for Life is dedicated to equipping the next generation of creators and makers. And we partner with schools, great organizations like Young Life, the Bowery Mission, Harlem Children's Zone, and the tech community. And today we're partnered with XRC Labs to do this along with Young Life. And I think it's going to be really great. And currently Code for Life equips some 70 students, some of whom you're seeing on your screen right now. Not all of them are on. We're hoping a few more hop on. Some had some other obligations. This isn't their normal class day, but some 70 students who live in the Harlem and Bronx neighborhoods of the city. And some of the students that you see have been taking JavaScript and been with us for a while. Others have just got started and they're learning web basics, but they're all incredibly gifted and they're amazing, each and every single one of them. And so we're excited for you to meet them. Right now, I want to introduce Brandon Ba, who's been our lead instructor and responsible for much of the curriculum that we use. And he's been teaching the software development to cohort who will be presenting. So I want him to take a few minutes and just share a little bit about what they've been learning and then introduce the students who will be presenting some really cool apps that they developed this past spring. So you're going to really love what they've developed. Brandon?
Hey, thank you, Chris. Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for jumping on. Thanks so much for tuning in to all our students, all visitors, everyone who's interested and supporters of Code for Life. Thank you for showing up today. First, we just want to say thank you again. And it's been really, really awesome to see young people get into tech. I remember my first stint with technology and just being awakened to what I can do with technology, with coding, with software engineering, and web development. And so to have some of our students realize some of those same experiences so young is really, really cool. I tell them all the time, you all are going to be a lot farther than me when you get to my age. And so we look at our students and we're really excited about what they can do, but also the possibility of what they can become, whether that's in technology or outside of it. The skills that we've learned and that we continue to foster in Code for Life are skills that we all need for life, right? We often look at sports as a place that builds character. We believe coding builds a lot of character as well. So just wanted to say that before we start, but we have our amazing software development 2 group that I got to lead for the spring semester, and it's been amazing. And so they're going to get to showcase some of their projects to you all. I wouldn't call them full-blown apps just yet, but they are definitely functional websites, small widgets that do solve a problem. And that's kind of where we were going. We want to create and foster problem solvers, as Chris often coins, that we want to create creators and makers, not just consumers and users of technology. So with that being said, we have our first group, and I'll let them introduce themselves, but their names are Kevin Hernandez, Zavi, Xavier Gonzalez, Balasai also is a part of this group, and Ishmael as well. So we'll let them go ahead and present, but their app, or I shouldn't say app, but I should say website, is called GSP is what they call it. I don't know what it is about this generation that loves to abbreviate everything in life, but they do. But it's a game predictor, and they'll talk more about it. So I will let Kevin, actually Zavi, Xavier, go ahead and start.
Yes, hello. As Brandon said, my name is Xavier, and this is GSP.
So,
it's a game predictor.
Can I interrupt really quick? Before you jump in, please give your name, your age, where you go to school, and then jump into your presentations. All right, thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Xavier. I am 13 years old. Go to Harlem Village Academies, and I live in the Bronx. And this is GSP. GSP is a game simulator predictor that simulates your game and predicts which team would win. For example, if I were to click baseball and pick two very random teams and click the amazing looking button, it'll tell you which team is most likely to win based off a stat or multiple stats. So if I put two teams against each other, and we click the button again, and it come out as an error saying that you can't put both teams against each other, which means that, and then you would click OK, the button would disappear, and then you would change one of the teams, one of the sides to be a different team, and then click the button again. It tells you which one is more likely to win. Now I will pass it off to my teammate / friend Kevin to explain a lot more.
Hey, Kevin, you're
All
on
right.
mute.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Kevin Hernandez. I'm 15. I go to H3A High, and just how Xavier explained, I'm gonna be talking about the code that we wrote. So for right now, what you're looking at is the HTML, which is pretty much all the images and the drop down, the options, all of that you just saw right now on the main page. Next is the CSS. This was just all for the button. So this was what made the button like glow, just to make it look a lot better than just a basic button. Right here you see all of this. This was just so we can make all the content go in the middle of the screen, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And then here is the JS. So in the JS, first thing you'll see is some variables. The most important ones out of all these would have to be the is true, because this is what helped us solve one of our main problems, which was beforehand, the predict button would just stay there. You could click it as much as you want, and it will just throw up errors after errors. But because we made it to false, this helped us make it so the button will only appear when two teams are selected. Here you'll see the show function, and this function is pretty much just telling the code which sport has been selected. So then it will tell you if basketball has been selected or if baseball got selected. And depending on which one was selected, then it would make the teams for that sport pop up. Next, you see all of this. This is all just arrays for the teams and their winning percentages. It's same thing for an ID, which is just a way for us to call them. You will see some for loops that pretty much look the exact same. Pretty much what it's doing is just running through this array and grabbing the name of the team and just printing it out on the dropdown. Then you'll see some things that say selected team 1 through 4. So pretty much what these are doing is it's you getting the user's input, which is pretty much just getting which teams was selected, and then pasting it on the screen so the user knows which teams they've selected. And then you'll see the is true variable again, and you see that it turns true. So every time you select a team, it makes is true equal true, and when there is two trues, it will make the predict button appear. Same thing for this one. So if there's just one true and another false, the button will never appear. More of the four functions. And then the 3 and 4 are just the same thing as the basketball ones, but this is just for baseball. Finally, you'll see the main code for the predict button. So what it's doing is it's going to find out if n is equivalent to 1 or 2. If it is 1, then it will equal basketball. If it is 2, it would equal baseball. So depending on which sport, it would run a specific type of code. If it was basketball, it would make everything that was for baseball disappear and only show what was for basketball. And then after it's been the predict button has been clicked, it would make the predict button just disappear, just to hide itself, and then it will run the main code, which is it would check to see if the first selected team is not the same as the second team. So if someone puts the same team against each other, then it would come down here to this else if and put an alert saying you can't put the same team against each other. But if the two teams that have been selected are different, then it would continue with the code and to find out which team would have a higher winning percentage than the other. But if anything happens and the two teams that have been selected have the same percentage, have the same winning percentage, then what we'll do is it will put a random function, create an array using the first selected team and the second selected team, and then grab a random team from the array. And then it would paste whichever would win onto the screen. And then for each end, it would show is true 1 and 2 to equal false. This is just so that the predict button would disappear immediately after and just doesn't stay on the screen. Same thing is for the basketball, the baseball.
All right, that's pretty awesome, Kevin. I wanted to ask you and Zavi just some quick questions about how you built this. So you talked about one of the biggest challenges being that is true. Were there any other challenges technically that you came across when working through building GSP?
I would say yes. Like one of the, and what I would consider, in my opinion, the biggest struggle was actually getting like the drop down itself to work.
Okay.
And like we had to like get all the teams to appear, all the like to make sure that whatever stat, what you never explained the stat, which is winning percentage. So whichever one is closest to 1 would have a higher chance to win, and then the lower it accelerator makes sense. To make sure that stat was tracked to be sure that whichever teams are picked, it goes with the higher one. To make the drop down it was all a process and it was all very hard.
Yeah. I mean, you guys got to build a really cool algorithm where you take the winning percentage and based on that, you're able to find a winner. So I guess there are like other stats that you all can also add to predict what the winner could be, right? So that's really good. Kevin, anything on your end before we move on?
I feel like the biggest problem we had also adds on to what Zavi said. Because what we like the main problem that we had was to be able to flush out user input to make so the code would like work with it. So if somebody chooses a team, to make so that team would pop up. That was like the main problem that we had. But the moment that we had that problem fixed, we were able to grab users input, then it was very easy to be able to make certain things work.
Yeah. I think it's really awesome that you guys also added some error handling, right? We talked about that in class, how it's important to make sure that we kind of handle all cases for users that may do things that we don't always hope that they do. So it's really cool that you all are throwing errors. Hey, don't do that. Or hey, you can't choose 2 teams. Really, really good. Very, very impressive. Thanks, guys. Good job. Great job.